they're gonna have to make, pay for more easements to be recorded, so they're they wanna be sure all the bases are covered. There are some areas where they find that it's gonna be, to do a trench, it's gonna be too close to where people have properties and where they live, so they're looking at these, well systems. Did I tell you this before?
Yeah,
Did I
something
tell
about a
that?
well.
Yeah, a well where it's just a well that allows the water to percolate up through the well and then it dissipates, and it's not the trench then, it's just a well. And that's, in some areas they wanna fill in areas, and other places they wanna put a well, and other places they wanna do the trenching, so, they're working out all those details, and it's really, they're getting down to the nitty gritty, every little place, they're getting it all squared away and knowing who owns what where, and it's really coming together, a lot of detail. And we just got our, report back from the Corps of Engineers. After the flood, they had done an extensive study on the whole diking system, and they pointed out areas where there were maybe some encroachments, or trees growing where they shouldn't be, or electric lines, poles where they shouldn't be. So there are things where the Corps of Engineers now we have their report that indicates repairs that they made and suggestions that they have for things that we need to do to be in compliance with them. So we'll be able to put all that engineering and all the Corps' report and everything all together. And so all the engineers have everything that they need now. They're putting it all together into one big packet. So as soon as we get that final number, and if you remember back when URS did the first study, they suggested that we get a couple of pumps to help protect the wastewater treatment plant. The kind of pumps that will pump the water up and over, back into the river or whatever. And those things were quite expensive. One was like $48,000 or something. So they've been looking at different, they've been looking at different types of pumps. Not a big, huge one, maybe two smaller ones, so that it's more usable and more affordable, and one that we don't need to have a tractor for, and one that's not so expensive. So, all these guys are brainstorming on the best and most efficient way we can do this, and still, get the job done, but not incur this huge expense to do it. So that's all coming together very well, and we should be able to give a number to the DNR really soon, for them to allocate the money to cover that half, 50-50, it'll be a 50-50 grant, so.
There aren't any numbers of poles that might have to be removed yet? For the
The Corps of Engineers report did have some specific areas where they mentioned electric poles that are in the wrong place, or in places where they shouldn't be. And I think Jeff has talked to Tri-County Electric about that, because some of them may be their poles, so.
So the city though would then have to reimburse Tri-County for the movement of those poles, probably. Or would they do it on their own?
I don't know, that's something they'll all have to, some of these things are, like homeowners may have a garden shed or a garage that overlaps or something. And so in some cases, we're not gonna make people move their structures, except if they are movable. If it's a little garden shed, they probably can move easy enough, but if it's in addition to their house, we're not gonna do anything about that.
When are they anticipating starting to physically do something that we can see, Kathy?
Well, they'll have, that's what they're doing, all that fine tuning now. They're getting like the plans and specs together, so that when they get everything all figured out, and when we get the number locked in with the DNR, then they'll be coming here to give a presentation, a report on the whole thing, and tell you exactly what they're gonna do in every section of town, and then ask you to go out for bids on the project. So they'll be giving a detailed presentation when you feel.
When do they anticipate that?
I'm not sure, but it should be. It would be in the next couple months for sure, because they're looking at trying to do get it done by this summer.
Good.
But I can double check on the timeline of when we think that'll come together, but they've been moving along really quickly.
bike trail project?
That, they're still in the design stage for that, and, there too, it's just a matter of, they're coordinating with the levy, engineers to be sure we have the right property descriptions and everything. And there's a couple areas where we have to double check, to see if we really, if we indeed have, if we can use an existing easement to put the bike trail there. So there's just a few things to check on like that, but they're designing it right now. With also the hope of a spring bid letting for work in the summer. So they'll be back too when they have all their plans and specs together. The wastewater treatment plant, we did get our PFA rate locked in at 1.077%, which is a very good rate. And so we're still working with the PFA to get all that paperwork squared away and get all a lot of paperwork with PFA. And so we'll be bringing more resolutions back to you guys for approval when that gets further along. Other things, Tri-City planning meeting. Oh, that's not gonna, you're not doing Tri-City meeting
Until
in
April
March,
27th,
right?
yeah, they pushed it
not
back.
until April. That's about it.
That's that.
That's the end of time period where if you want somebody else to sit in on it.